Hi, I'm Kevin Harrington. I'm an original shark from the hit TV show Shark Tank. And with me is Jimmy Owens. Jimmy, you have an awesome story to tell. And Jimmy is an entrepreneur for 30 years, and he's been a business coach. He's also an author and a speaker, but he's also been through a heart transplant. And I just want to say, I'm glad you're here with us to share your story today. Thank you.
Thank you,
This
Kevin.
is awesome for you to be here. I mean, you know, one of the most powerful things is the survival of that, and that you also operate a swimming coach. You're a swim coach, and you have for 6 years, you've been teaching some of the greatest swimmers in the United States out of Valencia, California, how to become better swimmers, and they made the Olympic trials and things like this. So I've said a mouthful. Welcome to being here, and tell the folks a little bit more about what you do, okay?
Thank you, man.
I started you off here, okay?
So, first off, I've been a swim coach for USA Swimming for over 30 years.
Okay, 30 years, USA Swimming.
So, and those are mostly age group kids, which are kids that beginning at 5 years old all the way to college.
But you can actually help kids that have never
Absolutely. That's
even
with
at
the swim school.
The swim school, right? There you go.
That's how we actually find kids for the team.
Okay.
Is we start them in the swim school, try to teach them water safety, and then try to teach them swim team strokes per se.
Yeah, right.
And eventually, by the time they're 5 and 6 years old, get them on the swim team.
Very nice.
That's how we build that program.
Yeah.
The second thing I've done, Kevin, which is really exciting for me, is I also have been an entertainment company for the last over 30 years.
30 years, yeah.
Yeah.
You provide DJ services,
DJ
right?
services, live sound.
It's a heck of a business, you know?
I love it.
Yeah.
And it creates memories for people for the rest of their life.
Birthdays, bar mitzvahs, weddings, you name it. I've used it for all of those. Okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Even conventions. You know, we do everything.
Yeah, that's great.
The last thing is I've become a speaker and an author, so I get to speak to groups about my story and about how I've used, and I'll explain in a few minutes, but how I've used the philosophy that I grew up with to create business.
You know, Jimmy, what's interesting is I can feel the passion. You know, it's like, I mean, first of all, you wake up every day probably passionate after the heart surgery, right? So that you're here and ready to go, right? So God bless you, and it's great to see that. Tell me about your passion.
So my passion is really deep-rooted in the fact that I have been coaching for so long, and I feel that that's given me an opportunity to understand teamwork, persistence, consistency in what you do, all those type of things that create, whether it be a good athlete or a good business.
Right.
Because either one you're doing really is the same type of consistency.
Right. And so as a school that teaches kids, students, adults how to swim, how to get to the Olympics, etc., what makes you different than anyone else that might be doing something similar? Now, I know you've been doing this 30 years as a coach.
Correct. So what makes me different, I think, with all of the different things that I've done, it's created my experiences as coaching has made me a step above most people that just start in this kind of a business.
Right.
The second thing I think that makes me different in this business is the fact that I am a recipient of the gift of life.
Yes, there you go.
You know, I spent 5 months in a hospital at UCLA in Los Angeles, and they saved my life by giving me a heart transplant.
That's awesome.
With that experience, I feel that there's very few people I know that are in this kind of a business that do what I do and can explain to people what it took for me, what I had to tell my brain every day so my brain would tell my body.
Wow.
You know, and I feel like I do that in people's businesses. I do that with my athletes.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going to make a great coach and a great speaker.
You're a survivor.
To the people in the
You're
future.
a survivor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, you've overcome the biggest challenge of anybody could have, life or death. You help people overcome challenges every day that are much less. And so it's, you know, how do you help them do this? I mean, you obviously have the skill set.
Some of the challenges that I find, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a business owner, first challenge is fear.
Right.
You know, most people are afraid to actually make that commitment to get out and do something. Most people are afraid that they're going to fail, or they're afraid because people have told them they can't do it. So you might have to start off with something very simple to set your goals at a really low level so they experience success.
Yeah.
So they're not quite as afraid.
Yeah.
The next thing I find, which is similar to fear, is lack of confidence. People just don't have the confidence that it takes to start up a business, to get out in the world and, oh, you can't do this. Oh, you're not good enough. And they hear that the stinking thinking constantly.
Right.
And I
stinking thinking. Yeah.
Stinking thinking.
That's
Zig
what Ziglar, I think, came up with.
I love Zig Ziglar.
Zig Ziglar. Yeah.
The world wants to put that on you. The last thing that I feel is really a problem or a challenge for most of my clients is technical difficulties as well. And let's say you're a swimmer, it could be your stroke techniques.
Right.
You know, you're learning how to control your breathing. If you're a triathlete trying to learn how to swim, it's not that you're not strong enough, it's that you need to learn that control.
Correct.
Every other sport, you can breathe anytime you want.
Right, yeah.
Swimming, you have to control the breathing.
I swim, I have a little pool at home and I do laps, and I'm like trying to figure out I'm learning the best way to get the best breath when I do the breaststroke or the
butterfly,
the butterfly,
whatever it may
yeah.
be.
All of that good stuff, yeah.
The next thing with technical difficulties, it could go as far as even being a speaker. What if the mic doesn't work? What if the screen doesn't work? You've got to slowly stop and figure out, take a moment, what is happening.
Yes.
Take your time and not panic.
Right. There you go.
And figure out what's happening.
Yeah, because you've been on all sides of it. So
Yes.
you pretty much have the ability to give people their view because you've been in their shoes.
I've been able to see what's happening.
Been able to see it, right? So there's people out there right now that are saying, wow, the things that Jimmy has experienced, some people will never come close to. And so congratulations on being a survivor. And so there's folks that are going to want to do business with you because you're the kind of person that's succeeded. You're also the kind of person that has such a passion because of what you've been through, 30 years as a coach, and you're an entrepreneur. You've got other businesses, you're DJ. I mean, this is so cool that you can do 30 years worth of that and 30 years worth of this. It shows that you've got the talent across the board. So, but for anyone out there right now that's thinking about, hey, I'd like to work with Jimmy, why should they? Give them the answer right there. Tell them, why should they work with Jimmy Owens?
The reason I think, that's a great question, by the way, Kevin, thank you. The reason I think people should work with me is, number one, commitment. I have the commitment that it takes to be the right kind of coach for you. I have the commitment that it takes to be a successful entrepreneur, a successful business owner, etc. So you've got to be committed. That's one of the things you've got to do.
First thing, commitment.
Commitment.
There you go. Okay.
The second thing is you've got to embrace the journey. And I've been quoted by saying this in newspapers many times about teams that I've coached, that success is a destination, but it's not really the destination. The way that I learned this was success is a journey, not a destination, but it's not really what you become in the destination. It's who or what you become on that journey.
There you go. And you keep going because the journey continues.
That's right.
Right? Yeah.
So you've got to embrace the journey. And the last thing I want to say to people out there is you've got to take action. You can sit at home and listen to our interviews, or you can sit at home and listen to things daily. But if you don't do something about it now.
Yep. You know, I wrote a book, Act Now, because it was like people would always say, I had a great idea, but you never did anything.
Yes.
You've got to act now. So that's a great way to finish off our interview, Jimmy.
I love it.
Act now. That's what you got to
action.
do. Take action. You've heard it here first. Here is a man that's had a heart transplant sitting here telling us that we can be successful entrepreneurs and in various businesses that he's been involved with. I want you to contact Jimmy Owens. He's the real deal and a survivor. 2 thumbs up. Jimmy, thanks for being here, buddy.
Kevin.
All right.
It's a pleasure.
Good seeing you. Take care.